Work drama that okay. Work drama that should have stayed confidential, but we're glad that it didn't. Don't pretend you're not. My boss has a pregnant girlfriend and a wife with 3 children. How should I let the wife know? A conversation? I've suspected my boss has had an affair because I've spotted him from my office window in the parking lot a few times with the same woman, but I've never actually got any proof, and they never did anything obvious. They just basically parked next to each other, and she didn't work for our company. So it was sus to see a random woman who doesn't work here parking next to the same person. I've also witnessed this only 3 times in 1.5 years, so I wasn't even sure if I am just making conspiracy theories. Me and my fiance went to the zoo last weekend for the Easter holiday, and the same woman stopped my fiance and started chatting with her, and she was pregnant. After she left, I told my fiance about her, and she froze and said that this woman goes to the same nail tech and she's having an affair with a married man. And here I was doubting it, and I was like, she could be pregnant from anybody else. All signs are pointing to your boss. She is not hiding it. She proudly talks about it as if that was an achievement, and she is open about expecting the baby from that man. She said she claims she doesn't even care if he never leaves his wife because he's able to provide a good life for her. After that, we stalked her account and identified my boss in a few pictures. Shame on me for ever doubting that you had the evidence to back this up. She doesn't post his face, but posts from his car, his hands, with his watch, things like that. I agreed with my fiance that we would tell the wife, but we couldn't find her on any social media apps. My boss only has LinkedIn. The wife does come to the office events, but the next one will be in July. Should we follow him to his house and then leave a letter? Should my fiance say anything to the mistress? I don't want to lose this job. I've worked hard for this position, but I also want to let the woman know, and my fiance agrees with me and wants to let the wife know too. Also, if we tell the wife, what evidence should we provide? Do we need to provide evidence at all? Any advice? Yes, compile everything you have. Edit. I believe the right thing is to not let anyone live their life in a lie. I do believe in mind your own business, because if I minded my own business, a woman would be without the chance of justice and control over her faith, and 4 kids would grow up in a lie. My question is how to tell her, and not if I should tell her. So if you are a mind your business parrot, I don't care. Yeah, she's already telling her. She's just asking for advice on how. Well, pick me up on your way, because I need to be a witness to this. Like, I would like to see the drama unfold, all right? Next up, boyfriend exchanged Instagrams with female coworker. Been there. Not Matt, don't freak out. I'm highly upset because my boyfriend exchanged his Instagram with his female coworker. In the beginning, when we were dating, I saw texts, harmless convo between him and female coworkers, and followed them on Instagram. I told him if I'm dating a guy, I'm not okay with him following his female coworkers or texting them. Oh, unless strictly required because it's work related. As I find stuff like that very triggering due to past infidelity trauma from my ex, and I find it disrespectful in general, as I wouldn't do that with male coworkers while having a boyfriend. To each their own. He agreed, said he wouldn't even want me to be friends with other men anyway. Okay, if I had my red flag. As time went on, I would always find him doing stuff, looking at his female manager's Instagram pictures. At one point, he was texting a female coworker and then deleting messages between him and her, but I ended up finding out because he forgot to delete one text between them. That's when he confessed they were texting because she wanted him to give her work discount, and he didn't want to be rude because she didn't have it yet since she was new on the job. I would have been cool with that, but he didn't explain the situation where he chose to hide their texted interactions. I understand there may be circumstances where our rule may have to be bent, but he never communicated that to me. He's more interested in protecting every random person's feelings but my own. Fast forward to today. I saw a message on his Instagram with a female coworker. He never mentioned her to me ever, wishing him a happy birthday and saying that they should catch up sometime. Catch up? As in like we've already caught up before? He responds, thanks for the happy birthday, and says he hopes she's doing well on her trip and to take care while I appreciate him shutting her down. I'm pissed that they're following each other on social media this whole time when we explicitly agreed we wouldn't be following members of the opposite sex on Instagram. Oh girl, listen, I got trauma too. I was cheated on with a coworker over social media, in text, in person. We don't carry that into our next relationship. We heal from that first. We heal from that first. Yes, it's not good. I don't think it's good. You know, it's always when I'm the most tired that I'm also the most hyper. I worked the whole day. This is Friday evening right now. After a full day of work, I'm like hyper. When I confronted him, he told me everybody in a group at work were exchanging social media and he didn't want to be rude. I said, fine. Why is it that when you got home that day, you didn't say anything about it to me? He said he forgot. I then said, okay, so when she messaged you happy birthday, clearly you remembered following each other on social media then. He didn't have an answer. I feel highly upset about the situation because he broke an agreement we made in support of protecting some random girl's feelings. I'm pretty sure you will all say this whole rule of not exchanging Instagram with the opposite sex is messed up, and quite frankly, save it! I did not save it. It's my channel, I can do what I want. If that's what you're coming to say, it was a rule we both agreed to. And I have a personal duty to respect myself with a boundary that protects my heart. My one and only question to you all is, am I wrong in assuming that this woman stating we should catch up is trying to hook up with my soon-to-be ex-boyfriend? Girl, okay. Well, fine, to each their own. I said my piece. But since you guys have made this rule for yourselves and this is what you guys works for you, which I don't think is working, I don't think you're gonna like anything that I'm gonna say, to be honest. So I might as well not say it. This isn't even, I'm not even talking about the cheating boyfriend, okay? Let me tell you, I'll give you a little tea, I was in a relationship, okay? Where I was in that, where if someone of the opposite sex, didn't matter who, what, where, when, how, I could have never met them. If they messaged me or anything on social media, I had to tell that person immediately. And we lived in different cities for some of our time, so it was like I had to screenshot, I had to send everything. If I didn't tell him the second it happened, I'll never allow myself to be in a relationship like that again. Especially because I didn't do shit, okay? Anyways, are my married coworker and I just friends, or should I pull back? AKA, are we flirting? Oh my gosh, how fun of a game would that be to play Are We Flirting? Where we can just dissect conversations and see if there's vibes there. Would you act like this with a coworker? And are we just friends, or is my coworker, male 34, flirting with me, female 33? Okay, I'm gonna put myself in this situation, pretend I'm single and pretend I'm her, and I'll let you know if I feel like we're flirting. We work at different locations as we live in different cities, but we have many projects together, so we will see each other quite often. I've been absolutely in love with him for more than a year, or crushing hard, but he is happily married to his lovely wife. Okay, I don't like this game anymore. Met her several times. Oh, and they have 3 kids. And I would never ever act on my feelings, as I'm 100% against cheating. I've always felt that we are just friends, but other people have me doubting everything and whether we are being flirty. I really don't want to flirt, but stay friends, as we work really well together. We have worked together for 5 years and have been friendly for 4 years. When we are at different locations, we write chat messages a lot during the day and usually call each other at least once a day during our work day. It's usually work related, but we always end up just talking about other stuff while we do other work. So we end up talking for half an hour or an hour while just working on something else. We tease each other, talk about when something is bothering us at work, we joke, we talk about our lives, and so on. I'm not the one initiating contact. I would say it is maybe 60% him and me 40%. We text each other outside of work as well and send memes. When we are at the same office, we often share a computer, look at the same screen, and we sit close. We usually spend quite a lot of time with our arms and legs touching, or even basically leaning a bit against each other. I have always seen this as just friendly behavior, but am I being blind here? FYI, I am not the one touching him. We just sort of end up that way, or he leans closer to me. This also happens if we generally sit next to each other. Our boss has said we sound like an old married couple, and we probably do, as we have a lot of banter. I have so far just thought I needed for my crush to fade, but after telling people about how we are together, I am now more nervous about the friendship because they say we/he is flirting, and I'm wondering if I should pull back. Would you act like this with your coworkers when you are married, or is it too much? Okay, forget me being in this situation. Married people out there, I need you in the comment section. If you're married, you're devoted to your wife or your children or both. Is this appropriate? Is this really just friendly conversation? You sit close, but there's no like inappropriate stuff. Like, is it a friendship or are we flirting? Next up, am I the a-hole for reporting my manager to HR over his dead cat? That is not what I expected to read. I, 19 female, am working in a retail job that in the grand scheme of what a public-facing job entails, I generally really like. The work is not hard and I get along well with my coworkers. I'm even looking at getting promoted, which would be great in my quest to afford school. However, I have a manager, 41 male, who I will call Chris, whom I am very close with. He would help me with my tasks and we would chat, which eventually led to him giving me his number. 41 and 19. My spidey senses are kicking in here. But things didn't seem weird at the time. I had just split with my boyfriend at the time, which meant that I had all the free time in the world. Looking back on it, I wonder if Chris kind of took advantage of that as he began to text me pretty much every day. He also would somewhat ignore his job to hang out with me while at work. I, being me, wrote it off and just assumed that he was being nice. It was also around this time that he would tell me things like, "You are the best friend I have," and "You are the only person I can talk to," and other similar sentiments. As the texting progressed to multiple times a day, as well as him getting me gifts and drinks, I started to question if it was weird. However, I felt guilty for making it weird and tried to ignore the feeling. He would spam text me if I didn't respond fast enough, most of those times being when I was working, and he would get upset with me for slow responses. Yeah. My spidey senses were right. He would justify it by saying he's just worried. Eventually, he asked me to hang out outside of work, to which I made up an excuse as to why I couldn't attend, resulting in him getting upset with me and having a breakdown while at work. During the aforementioned breakdown, he pulled me into a conference room with no cameras, in which he cried to me about his cat that passed away a year ago. I understand pet death can be very difficult and traumatic, of course, but I do not understand what facilitated me being the person to communicate that to, especially on the clock. Clearly, I was very uncomfortable with this, and he wouldn't stop until I eventually had to physically find my way out. In the end, I spent a whole hour with the man. Then later that week, he had another breakdown. Yeah, you better be careful. Chris needs to get some help, respectfully, genuinely. This one was once again about me not responding to his texts, which I was literally clocked in. And he ended up sending me some very disrespectful, hurtful messages. This is when I decided enough was enough and I confronted him, basically just saying what he did was inappropriate and that he had no right talking to me how he did. This resulted in him talking to me until midnight in the parking lot. We close at 10. In which we worked things out, but I couldn't help but feel afraid and uncomfortable. Here's where the AITA comes in, as I went to HR about his behavior the next day. Good girl. However, once they talked to him, he resolved to throw a whole bunch of other managers under the bus, saying that if he had my phone number and they did as well, then they should be punished just as much as he is. The difference is that they are all similar in age to me and maybe text me once a week at best. I should have expected him to do this, but I hoped that he would be a man and take accountability. He proved himself to be a effing wet sock staining God's green earth, and very unfortunately, it looks like HR has leaned more in favor of him. Ew, get out of there. Which I should have expected because of his status, and is now investigating everyone else that he mentioned. I have one manager I'm extremely close with who is now worried about losing his job over the matter, given that we hang out outside of work, which is technically against company policy. Our relationship is purely platonic as he is gay and I specifically only go after men who resemble Bobble from Disney's hit Pixie Hollow series? Who's that? Now I'm curious. Like the pixie? What's happening? I expected to see like a person. He's a little butterfly. My ex had hair like that. One of my exes, no joke, straight up had hair like this man. So I can give you his number if you want. Now I am wondering if I shouldn't have said anything and just dealt with being a little uncomfortable, especially knowing he could retaliate against others. I just feel like it opened up a can of worms that maybe shouldn't have been touched. I also wonder if I am just being dramatic and if those interactions are completely normal. No, I think the whole thing is wildly inappropriate. I think you did the right thing, and if HR is not standing behind you, I think you need to leave. And then you can be friends with all the other people that you were friends with. You know what time it is. Hydrating time. Fun enough. It's not lemon in my cup. I squeezed some lime into it instead. They don't have a lime cup. Well, I'm gonna drink some and then I'll go get a towel. Cheers. Don't be like me. Be smart. Don't mind me. Just made a freaking mess all over the place. My tripod is all wet. Literally where I'm sitting, water all over the blanket on my chair. You can't even see it all. It's soaked. My boss got upset that I called off and told me it is not acceptable. Am I the a-hole? I started this job about a month ago now. I work at a doctor's office, a small clinic with a staff of 3. Me, the medical receptionist, and the doctor. I am a medical assistant. Yesterday at work, I was helping the doctor with an x-ray machine while he was giving a trigger point injection. Suddenly, my world goes dark. I got very sweaty. I hear a loud ringing, and he asks me if I'm going to pass out, and I mumble yes before my inevitable outcome. Now, he sent me home and was not upset about it yesterday. Today, I had to call off because I woke up and a wave of nausea smacked me in the face. I ended up having a horrible headache, got horrible sleep as I woke up several times in the night, super dehydrated and had to chug water, felt a burning in my chest, and I got diarrhea. TMI, I know. Anything goes on this channel. I told him I spent the night throwing up and will not be able to make it into work, and he responded with the following statement, quote, "I hope you feel better. Calling off puts much stress on," insert medical receptionist name, "and myself, and can negatively impact patient care and is not an acceptable practice." Bro, you're a doctor. If anyone should understand that people get sick, you would think you would be a doctor. I asked him if he still wanted me to try to come in anyhow, and he did not respond. Mind you, I have not called off before. If you were having a shot or procedure done, would you want me in the room with you touching the band-aids, wheelchairing you around the clinic, and prepping your injection site, knowing my symptoms? Am I the a-hole? Edit. I had an EKG test, blood work, IV drip, potassium fluid, and pain meds, as well as nausea medication received through the IV. I got a doctor's note for my boss. I sent him an email after my ER visit about all the symptoms I had in detail last night and told him about the ER visit. By the way, it was $500. First day back, and the doctor became very cold towards me despite me giving him the note. I attempted to get ahead on work and he told me to delete all of it and redo it as patients come in instead. I accidentally typed in the wrong password and it locked us out of Google Doc that we have for 2 minutes. He snapped at me about it. I received a call from the ER and I told them it wasn't a good time and asked them to call back. He got mad that I even answered it to begin with, despite me telling them I can't talk and he was in front of me for the call. At the end of the day, he pulled me in the back room and switched me back to on contract. Essentially, he told me I have 4 weeks and he will decide if he wants to keep me under employment by the end of the 4 weeks. It is strange to me how he went from bragging about me to telling me how good I'm doing to giving me the cold shoulder because one day I called off due to a real medical emergency. Currently, I have a job offer already from Mercy Cleveland Clinic waiting for me. The question is, does the doctor deserve 2 weeks? Boyfriend says he does not. I agree with boyfriend. Do you really want to work for this guy? Absolutely not. My coworker was suspended immediately after an HR claim against him. Hi all, I have a coworker who just got suspended from work immediately after an HR claim was against him. Backstory: me, my male coworker, let's call him Max, and a female coworker started off talking about another female who used to work with us. The conversation took a turn when we started talking about gossip. How the former female coworker was having sexual relations with another coworker who is known to be promiscuous. Let's call him John. We started talking about John and how he's always making sexual comments about customers and female colleagues. The female asked if John said anything about her, to which Max said yes. Max told her some comments John had made about her body. She asked if he had said anything else relating to her face or appearance. She was persisting very hard. He alluded to this. She had asked, "Do I have a butter face?" Max said yes, and this stopped the conversation. I think it's when you wear so much makeup, like you cake on the makeup, they called you butterface. People called girls like that. Oh my gosh, it's even worse. A person regarded as having an attractive body but unattractive facial features typically used of a woman. Thanks for clarifying. She then made an HR claim about Max and he has been suspended. Is Max screwed and will get fired? Even though the original comments were from John, who wasn't present during the conversation. I wholeheartedly think this conversation shouldn't have happened at all. It was all inappropriate, but Max was only repeating what John had said because she was fishing for answers. For clarification, female coworker asked Max if John has said that she has butterface. Max has reiterated John's word because she was digging for answers and wouldn't drop it. Update! We got an update. Max got fired. That's crazy. Really? I feel like it's a miscommunication. Can't we talk it out? No one else got fired or suspended. I've talked to HR and told them the truth. Manager said the reason why he got fired was because he repeated the remarks regardless of who made the original comment. He had a long conversation with the managers about the situation. When he told the managers that this kind of talk is common, a manager said, "Whenever I hear guys talking like this at work, I walk away. I don't want to hear it or be involved, so you shouldn't either." Which we can understand that. In front of his manager, one also told him that the female coworker has family ties to the company's owners. Should Max have been fired? Maybe like a warning or, you know, something, but fired, like to straight up lose your job? Yeah, I guess like gossiping in the workplace is a risk you take. Next up, coworker kind of driving me nuts. We've probably all been there. Raise your hand if your coworker has ever driven you nuts, or at least one of them. I have this coworker at work. We started this job 6 months ago. We are basically 2 receptionists, so it's just us next to each other for 6 hours a day. We work 9-hour shifts, but we work 3 hours alone. So it's just me and her. She got hired in the company because her family member is quite high up in the company, so she was automatically in. I've gotten to know her well, and she's the kind person and always asks about my life, offers advice, and we do laugh together and have our own little inside jokes. As you would with working with someone for 6 hours a day alone. Although she is nice, she's also someone that I could not be friends with outside of work. She's 23 and I'm 24, but she's extremely immature. She has the mentality of a 16-year-old. She's very naive, and this is her first job. She is the youngest, and her older siblings, I feel, have restricted her a lot about growing up. Like, she wasn't allowed to travel alone, dye her hair, and her sibling had to give the okay to everything she did. Very odd. She also acts quite spoiled sometimes and expects people to do things for her. Like, she straight up asks me random things like, can you get me a fork from the canteen for my food? Can you get me a plaster? A plaster? And she's asked me to go to the shop to get her a drink. I would never ask someone to do this for me. Her family members always come to check on her and make sure she's eating lunch because she sometimes can't be bothered. Her family members have gotten her lunch so many times. She also has some kind of illness every day. She's always complaining of feeling sick or some injury is happening to her. She hates the job and finds it boring, and she even told our boss that she finds it boring. This is what I mean when she has no concept of social etiquette at work. She has taken a lot of days off. I find it good when she's gone because I honestly have a break from her because she usually wants to talk all hours about her quite childish things. She also hates working the late shift and asks to swap with me a lot, which I sometimes concede to. Also, she doesn't know how to do much admin work. I take care of most of the admin work, which some of it she doesn't even know how to do. She does do some things and she does respond to emails, help people, etc. But I do most of it. Once she had to put up signs around the building, which she had already done before, and I can't do it because I'm not tall enough. And she said she couldn't be bothered. Story of my life. Which she told me to tell our team. She goes up and sits with her family members' team on breaks. She literally goes to her room and sits on the couch near her family member and scrolls on her phone. With our job, we don't have much to do at all and often have hours of no work, and she's very restless, so struggles and says she wants work, but also doesn't do any of it that's given. The job is extremely high paying for what it is, so her family members won't let her quit despite her being relatively unhappy. Other people in the company don't really like her because they say she's arrogant and walks around like she's untouchable because of her family member's position. I think it's harsh, and she's a good person, but she can be annoying. You know what? Sometimes good people can be annoying. I'm one of them. I also feel very drained at the end of the day after being sat next to her all day, and it generally does drain me so much. I just don't know how much I can tolerate it. I know I have to keep the job, but I don't know how to make it more bearable. I don't know, because of her family member's position. Like, you can't go to someone and tell them how you're feeling because that's her family. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.